Hello everybody, this is Tip Top MTG here today with another Magic the Gathering Arena video. In today's video, I'm going to be breaking down the state of the game for March 2020. Now, the state of the game breakdowns are generally pretty long, so why don't you grab some popcorn and relax as I break down everything coming to MTG Arena in March of 2020. So I'm going to read through it, give you my thoughts, give you some things you may have missed, some outside information, some speculation, all of that, so it should be overall pretty fun. Let's get into this. The March game update is sure to spring you in your steps and phases with new cards, new features, new events, and new ways to interact with your fellow players. Nice? Nice. So basically, woo, March update. Now, for those who don't know, this March update, for the context of this, is all coming next Thursday. So this is when the update will happen. In case you missed it last week, we announced that we'll be adding 25 cards to MTG Arena as part of Historic Anthology 2. Which is true, I did a whole video covering that. They're also linking it with Secret Lair, and they're probably going to talk about that here in a second. I'm going to read through this, and there's some actual interesting stuff in this video. So, with Historic Anthology 1, our primary goal was to open up the option for historic decks to start bringing the greater breadth of the non-rotating format should support. We felt like this landed fairly well with cards like Treasure Hunt and Soul Warden, opening up some new deck archetypes for the format, and a card or two even ending up in some highly competitive historic decks. So they're basically saying that with Historic Anthology 1, they wanted to change it from standard, like old standard, to standard kind of plus, where like they kind of want to get away from standard. They want to make it feel more like modern by adding cards that you would never seen in standard together. Or never seen in standard in the case of some of them for like his Modern Horizons, that's the card. Alright, so for Historic Anthology 2, we're still looking to do some of this expanding of possibility space, but we also know a lot more about the environment that these cards are going into, which is true. We worked with R&D to understand where we could add new cards to help counter any of the cards we suspended, and which cards would work well to help us build up the format for the remastered versions of Amonkhet as well as Pioneer Masters. Whoa, that's a big drop. I'll talk about that here in a second. Which will be releasing later this year. With Historic Anthology 2, we're starting to build the bridge to that future, both in terms of power level and providing good answers and synergy pieces, such as cycling lands that work well with Amonkhet. We also wanted to bring some of the nods to Theros with the enchantment creatures from the original Theros block. Okay, so we got some pretty, bland information, but then we get this. So we already knew Amonkhet was coming this year, but now we're also getting statements of a Pioneer Masters, which will also be releasing this year. Now, I'm just going to do a quick breakdown of everything coming out this year for Historic. Ready? We have 4 standard sets. We have 4 Historic Anthologies. We have 12 Brawlers Guild Halls, if they don't stop those. We have Jumpstart. We have Amonkhet Remastered. And now we have the Pioneer Masters. Now, here's the thing. Is this going to be a paper product? Probably not. They said they're stopping Masters, but maybe they're going to go back on that. They said they were stopping core sets, but then they came back to those, so maybe they'll come back to these. It's just kind of crazy that all of these things are coming to the game. We are seeing tons of new expansion fairly quickly. Now, really quickly, before I jump, I guess there's one last statement. There's one last little statement, so I'll say this, and then I'll break down some information that isn't related here, but is revealed here. Finally, since Historic has a lot of room to expand, we wanted to make sure to include some options that were more unusual decks. Okay, so here they're kind of showing you, I don't want to full screen that. They're kind of showing you what the whole animation is going to look like. So you'll notice here, it's going to look like this. You're going to get 4 of every card. And in case you missed it, you are now going to be able to buy this with coins. So this will be 30,000 coins or 4,000 gems. And the original Historic Anthology will still be on sale, and that'll be 30,000 coins or 3,400 gems, which is pretty good, because if you're a historic player and you don't have historic sets yet, this is kind of like a historic set, and instead of just buying packs, instead of buying like 30 packs, you're just buying this whole set. So if you're a historic player, I think this is actually a pretty good move, and there's not much to complain about. But there is something to be revealed here. If we were to pause this and go right back to the beginning, I said right back to the beginning, you'll notice here we have a little view into the store. Now, first we see the Turn 2 bundle, which is a bunch of card styles for Historic Anthology, which is not weird. That happened last time. First off, you can buy it with both gems at a very discounted price compared to the normal bundles, and coins. We also can see that they are adding unsanctioned basic lands to the game. So those are going to be added. Now, it doesn't look like they have a style there, but for 2,500 gems, you can get the unsanctioned basic land, which I'm not a huge fan of. Although it looks like, let's see if I can zoom in on that for you guys. It looks as though that weird border thing isn't there. So, you know, if you get rid of that, they're not that bad. I mean, you can kind of see there's some border here. But that's pretty much it. So that actually might look pretty cool. I won't be buying it for that price. And then we also see we have the Tricks and Tools bundle, which costs a little bit less and has Platinum Angel in there. So not bad. But the biggest thing here is we have this thing called Puppet Jace, which we can see like the Puppet Master, but then we can see this tiny little Jace here. And at first I thought maybe this was an avatar, but then when you look at the price, that is the same price as a pet. So it looks like we're getting some sort of Puppet Jace pet, and it kind of looks like they removed the pet so we couldn't see what it was until the actual release, or they're not done with it. So that's just something to know. So moving on, we now have historic event schedule. So it says, where can you play with all these new cards? We're so glad you asked. So basically, how MTG Arena works is when a standard set is released, you're going to have like a month or two of standard. Then we're going to get historic anthology, and then like the main season is going to be historic in terms of like historic events and all that, which is kind of cool. They do this on-off cycle. I would prefer it was always like historic or standard or brawl, but whatever. Here's what you'll be able to do. So historic ranked will be March 12th through April 16th. So an actual ranked mode for historic, and for historic traditional ranked will also be those dates. We're going to have Workshop Heirlooms of History, which is probably just going to be Historic Workshop. Then we have Historic Brawl Workshop. And don't forget, coming up we have the Theros Festival of the Gods for Historic Brawl, which is kind of cool. Then we have Historic Pauper from March 28th to April 4th, and we have Historic Challenge from April 11th to April 13th. So we're getting a lot of these really short events that are just kind of cool for historic players. In addition to these event, players will also earn quest progress as well as weekly and daily win rewards when using historic decks in the general play queue. That's also very nice. Now here we have, to celebrate Secret Lair Thalia Beyond the Helva Vault. And then it says, to celebrate the launch of Historic Anthology 2, we're going beyond MTG Arena to bring you a special Secret Lair drop featuring the Guardian of Thrabin herself, Thalia. What makes this drop extra special is in addition to Thalia-themed creature sleeves, you'll also receive a card style for each of the new illustrations for use in MTG Arena. Overall, I think it's pretty cool. I think they should probably do this. Like, for most Secret Lairs, it doesn't seem that hard. I don't know. If the card is in the game, they should probably add it as a style. Okay. Direct messaging. The March game update will also be bringing us one of our most requested social features. The ability to direct message. Oh, sorry. One more thing. If you'll notice up here, we do see some more prices for these bundles, and they're actually looking cheaper. They must have noticed that no one was buying them before, so now they had to make them coin sinks. Either way, sorry. So now you're going to be able to message your friends in-game. So we can kind of see here that it's going to be built in the friends menu, and it's going to kind of look like text messages. And let's see what they have to say about that. They say, and to be clear, while you'll be able to chat during the matches, so you can do it then more than just on like the home screen, you'll only be able to message players you're currently friends with. This feature will not allow you to message your opponent if they are not on your friends list, which is probably good. That could really open up some toxicity. And then it says, and for those times that you really should be focusing on the current game state, we're also adding the busy or offline tag. So that's pretty cool. And so busy will be notifications are off and you can still send and receive, but you won't receive notifications. And offline will sign you out of social features. And so you won't actually be able to send or receive. Okay. So, here's something very interesting. To celebrate this new social feature, they say, we think the header pretty much covers it, but just in case, let us elaborate. Until the April game update, you'll be able to earn quest progress when challenging your friends in MTG Arena. You won't be able to use this to earn daily or weekly wins, and that's because you could technically sign up on like your other computer, and then just play and keep conceding, and then boom, 15 wins every day super easily. But we thought it'd be a nice way to celebrate, so you'll be able to still do like the cast 20 red spell. So if you really want to do this, you could challenge yourself or challenge a friend and be like, just let me cast 20 of these. Now, next we have something that's not as interesting, but I still think we should cover it, which is the new player experience. So last time Core Set 2020 was released, which I think is the right time to change things, because, you know, that's when the new core set is added, or maybe even standard rotation might be a better time. But whatever. They're saying, we've once again gone back to the drawing board for our new player experiences, and with the March update, we're adding a new way for players to learn the fundamentals of Magic through Magic Color Challenges. We've written a full guide for players looking to learn more, but here's the basic overview. So, account mastery has been removed. So, for those of you who didn't play through it, I didn't either, but I looked at it. It's kind of like the mastery tree in terms of, like, getting styles and things, but instead of getting styles, you actually got cards to be upgraded in your beginner decks. And so it's supposed to teach you about upgrading your decks and, just encouraging you to win games. But what they said is they're replacing this with color challenges. So there are 5 color challenges, one for each color of Magic, and each challenge contains 5 challenges. So there's 25 basically challenges you're going to do. And it says existing players can access and play the color challenges through the Learn More page. So unlike the Mastery Tree, we couldn't do that before, versus now we can. So you can probably expect a video from me where I talk about what this color challenge is. And maybe I'll do a little gameplay through it to show you what it's like. And then one of the neat things about these color challenges is if you lose the match, you'll see a post-game tip that looks like this. So that's pretty cool. I actually really like the way this looks. Yeah. And this says, ultimately, we hope these challenges provide a better opportunity for players to get a feel for each color Magic and the different ways they play, as well as providing a more robust onboard experience to both new to MTG Arena players and Magic players. Basically, they want to have a good new player experience. That's very important. I actually have really liked the tutorial in MTG Arena. I feel like it can be a bit long if you already know how to play, but if someone doesn't know how to play, it's a great way to teach them. Alright, now moving away from the new player stuff, here's stuff for everything. Sleeve up. We're also updating the card sleeve UX with this update, swapping to a multi-row vertical scrolling format that will make it easier for you to scroll through all your options. Thank you. You'll also be able to select a default card sleeve, which will be the default card sleeve for any decks you create. So this is pretty awesome. Basically, first off, it used to be like this one little scroll wheel kind of thing where you could pick one there and it would take a while to find yours, the one that you want. This design is much better here. And you also see you can just scroll up and down kind of like this. But you'll also notice here at the bottom, if this would go away, that it says set default. And so what you'll be able to do is say, hey, whenever I create a deck, I want you to, by default, put the, the Eldraine Wonderland bundle sleeve, or the Secret Lair sleeve. And anything that's using the default card sleeve, so anything that's using this, will be replaced with any of these. And that's pretty cool. Now, what they do say here is, and before you ask, yes, favoriting lands is also on our to-do list. It's not part of this game update, but it's one of those quality of life features we're working our way towards, which I think is very important. I really enjoy custom lands, but it's kind of annoying that everyone has the same lands because they all have default lands. So that's I'm happy that they're working on that, although it's not in this update. Next, we have Emote Evolution, which is good. There's only been like 5 things you can say. We need more. We're also adding some additional features to our in-game emotion options, adding 2 new dynamic responses for those of you who like to mind your manner. Thanks and sorry. Now, I was excited, but then I kind of got upset. Not upset, but kind of sad. Both options will appear for a few seconds in response to another emote. For example, if your opponent says nice in response to your play, you'll have the option to say thanks. In response, similarly, if your opponent says oops, you'll be able to offer your condolences by saying sorry. So here's a little demo of that. So your opponent is going to say nice, and you'll be able to say thanks in response. Now, I think that kind of, it can reduce some of the toxicity of the game, because sometimes you end up in these wars where you just say sorry after everything you do. I've seen people do that, and I'm like, okay. On top of that, I also think that if I want to say nice, I shouldn't have that option taken away. Maybe you should add an option, but I think that taking away the option, because what if both players just want to say nice at the same time? I think that's kind of a weird way to do that. But here's one of the more exciting things. We have Cube, kind of, coming to the game. I mean, Cube, yes, Cube is coming, but it's sealed to start. Okay, first off, yes, we know a lot of you want Cube Draft, and yes, we want it too. Given our intended goals for Cube Draft and with the cards and pack collation we intend to use, we don't believe it would be a fun environment for drafting with bots. So they were planning on doing human drafting, which they actually said in a Q&A or an AMAA. They're planning on doing that before the midpoint of 2020. So sometime, probably July, because, well, July is when Core Set 2020 is coming out, or 2021. So it'll probably be like June, maybe, where we see that. Although June could be Jumpstart. I don't know. We'll have to see. But either way, in the meantime, Cube sealed. we'll be introducing Cube sealed to MTG Arena in early April. So while this update is coming out next Thursday, you'll have to wait until early April, which is pretty far away. With our Cube built from the cards we're currently available in MTG Arena, including Historic Anthology 2. This will also be our first time that we'll be holding a Phantom event, woo! Which means the cards will not be added to your collection. So first off, Phantom events. I talked about this in my wish list of one of the features I really wanted to see. I'm very happy it's coming. Cube, very awesome, a feature I want to see, very glad it's coming. I think it's a good idea to start with sealed, where you're not relying on the stupidity of other people. This is a historic event. Now, I think a historic cube where you actually have to keep the cards would be kind of interesting. It allows you to kind of get those Historic Anthology 2 cards like that, but whatever. It's looking pretty cool. Looking at this, it looks like something where you're going to have to pay coins or gems to get in, but they didn't really reveal that, but we'll see. For those of you unfamiliar with the Phantom event, this means your rarity distribution doesn't matter, and you may end up with a lot more than 6 rares or mythic rares in your sealed pool. So this is basically bringing the power. Now, if I read the description, wanting to play some limited that really packs a punch, the Cube sealed experience gives you 6 packs like typical sealed event. However, the card pool hasn't been bound by a single magic set. Instead, they are drawn from... Sorry, this is kind of blurry. Instead, they are drawn from the creme de la creme of all the cards available in MTG Arena. Cube has no concept of rarity, so you will have plenty of exciting rares and mythics in your pool. The diversity of cards and the strategies and synergies make each one exciting and new experience each time. See a list of all the cards in the cube by clicking here. Now, I don't think they actually provide a link to that, but we'll be able to have a link to that. And so you won't actually get the cards, which is nice. Because it probably means the entry fee will be a lot cheaper. And looking at the rewards, you won't even get gold for the first win. So this will probably have a fairly low entry fee because you don't even get gems until the 5th win. So it'll be interesting to see what the entry fee is. I will definitely be doing that. And then it says we have more details, including the complete list of cards, later this month. Now, if we take a look at some of the cards, we do get a brief little look. We have a ton of mythics and rares, and it's a pretty big amount. I mean, looking at it, we have things like Platinum Angel in here. There's some pretty crazy stuff. Okay, then they say this will be coming out March 12th, which is exactly 1 week from now. Keep an eye on our status page for the latest information and follow us on this for the latest updates. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Honestly, this is one of the best updates we've seen in a while. I mean, we've had set releases, and last month we had events, but set releases and events, I don't really consider that to be new content. What do I consider to be new content? Things like Cube, things like the new player experiences. Those are the 2 big things here that are really jumping out to me. Things like direct messaging. But, we also have other things, like the new sleeve thing. Everything is just really nice. I remember when there was an update where the best thing about it was deck sorting. Woo. This is just so much better, and it looks like we might start to see more and more content, especially as Skybox Labs kind of starts to take over some of the development, which I did a whole video covering that as well. Alrighty guys, that's going to do it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please hit the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!